$5 million that was just donated. Does that all just go right to the NCAA, or you said there were other places you're getting the money for the facility upgrades? What was that?
Yeah, a couple different things. One, the $5 million is an NCAA classification that you have to give to go to FBS. So Tom's donation is $5 million. 3.5 of that, I believe, is what Cliff's indicated, would go to that. I think the other monies would come maybe from the institution or fundraising, whichever we can get there. Then you've got another part of that money would go to the locker room. There's a $4 million project for the locker room and weight room that we're going to do that we need to have done relatively soon. Not because of Conference USA, just because we need to have it done. So part of that money would also go to as a lead gift, or one of the lead gifts for the locker room. So you've got 4.5 there. You've got 2.5 that go to entrance fee for Conference USA, and then $5 million for NCAA. So that whole number, whatever that may be, is $11 million. But nonetheless, $5 million of it is coming from Tom, and then we can amortize out based upon our units, the share we're supposed to get from Conference USA on the entry fee. So that's how that would work. So really what we have, trying to, at the end of the day, the $4.5 million is what we have to fundraise for.
So apologies.
Did I just confuse things even more for you?
It's
probably.
good. I at least can go back and look at it.
That's
right?
right.
I figured it out.
Sorry about that.
So it's funny. When we're talking about this kind of money, apologies if I am asking a question that makes a ton of sense to you, but I think for the layman's terms, if I live in Springfield, I'm wondering okay, wait, time out. We didn't have this money before, or it was possibly an issue that we couldn't make these upgrades or move to a conference like this, and now we do, which is great that we've got the donation. But there's certainly more that has to come from someplace. How does that all work? If you were explaining that to somebody.
Yeah, well, this is what I've said. I said the heavy lifting now begins, right? And again, I'm appreciative of all the monies that we've gotten, what we're going to get for being the Conference USA, but we still have a ways to go to get where we need to be. So that's what I would say is the heavy lifting now begins. We've got to get attendance to help there, to help with more monies, more revenue. We need more donors in football to help with improving our stadium. That's where it has to come. It's not going to come from the university. The university is not going to give more money to help upgrade the football stadium. That's not going to happen. So we have to get it from donors and get it from people that have an interest in football. So that to me is the difference part. And you may say, well, why now? Well, you've got a lead gift from somebody that believes in football, and Tom. I think that will help matters. The fact that we've made the commitment to move up to FBS is also, I think, a big factor for football people to say, hey, they've finally stepped up. They care about football. Well, we've always cared about football, but we really care about football now. So I think that would help. That's the narrative that I would tell people.
And I was talking to Mrs. McLeod over there, and I was just saying when I first got a job a couple years ago, I was looking at, okay, we have Michigan State, Florida State, Oklahoma State, and I was like, Missouri State. Is that kind of the vision here of having a second option for someone who wants to go to that big-time school? You've got St. Louis, you've got Kansas City, huge population draws. It really feels like this university has kind of like an untapped potential in that way. Is that the right way to put it?
Yeah, I agree. It goes back to what you talk about with profile. We believe that. We can, from an athletic perspective, we can compete with, again, if we're specifying Mizzou, we can compete with them in everything. And when given the opportunity, we do. We don't always get the opportunity, but when we do, we're fine. And again, that's a whole different world with the SEC and what they have. I get that, but we certainly believe that our institution is of higher profile, and this helps move that needle a little bit more. And Cliff's done a lot of things on the academic side. This is just a piece of the athletic part that can help move the institution.
Any thoughts, any of the rivalries in the Valley about being able to still play a game or two of non-conference schedule against some of these teams, or is that too early to know?
Probably a little bit too early to know. We would certainly entertain and welcome that. It's just a matter of who is willing to do that. So I hope we do. I hope that I hope other ADs and our coaches would want to do that, right? That's what I hope happens, and because we would want to do that.
Just checking, I had a list here, and I want to make sure I didn't forget anything for you. So here it is. Okay, so the process of upgrading the facilities that they talked about, I mean, obviously she raved about this basketball facility, and she mentioned that there are some that are going to be raising the standard. Specifically, I mean, everyone's talking about football. There are others that we should know about that she was referring to when she said that.
Probably have to ask her, but I think the main issue is football, right?
Yeah.
Everything else, baseball is unbelievable, as you know, that we play in. Softball is really good. Hammond Student Center is fine. Of course, soccer's on the women's side is just getting right now the new field there. That stadium's gorgeous. I don't think there's any other issues that I'm aware of except for football. So, and we've been very upfront saying, hey, we realize our challenge is football, and we know we're going to have to invest more in plaster.
Is there anything that fans should expect to see different this year, or is it kind of starting after this next season?
Probably starting after next season. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Again, there may be some smaller upgrades, but really our focus is on the locker room and the weight room to get that done.
Okay. One more. The head coach of some of these teams get paid a lot more. Is there any talk about Ryan Beard's contract, or does that change when you do that? I think one of the coaches makes like over $1 million or something like that. I forget which school I was looking that up on, but
yeah, there's certainly going to have to be an adjustment. It won't go from where he is to $1 million, I can tell you that, and he knows that as well. But we realize that, but Ryan's our guy, and with some of this money, we're going to invest back into football, just not the facilities, but also in the program. And things you talk about have already been discussed, and we want Ryan to be here a long time and be successful. So we'll adjust accordingly.
How does that affect recruiting for someone like him when they're able to talk about Conference USA?
I wish he was here today because he's probably our most excited coach on all of this, just because obviously he gets to move up to what everybody else has been able to do, right? So I think he automatically thinks that this is going to increase the upgrade of what we have, and it goes cost of attendance. We don't have cost of attendance for football. They will have cost of attendance. So not only do they get more money, but they're also going to get to be at an FBS level. So that'll change just the quality of athlete we're going to be able to get.
So the best way to describe this might be you're spending money to make more money. That's kind of how that will
Absolutely,
work.
yeah. The product will improve, the teams that we have come in will be better, and hopefully our fans will respond to that. So
I'm good to go.
As an athletic director, I would imagine that as you're moving up the ranks, steering a program that has an FBS football team is a part of that dream. Is that how it feels for you to kind of be now steering this FBS program soon?
Well, I don't know if it was necessarily a dream, but it was something that was aspirational, and I'm happy for our institution. It wasn't like Kyle Moats is coming here and we're going to get to FBS and this is going to help my career. That's never, ever how I looked at it, ever. It was, what can we do to help the institution and help our student athletes and our coaches? I never even, this is my 15th year here. I'm getting kind of long in the tooth, as they say. So I just want to make sure we're doing the right thing for our institution. So I'm glad I could help.